All right, guys, we are going live for a special edition of the RoadFS podcast. As you know, we are at the Detail Marine Training Center, and we are about to go live with the Lake Country team. We have the two Bobs, Bob Eichelberg and Bob Meyers, and they're going to share with us all things pads, because a lot of times you come to these trainings, you see that they use a blue and an orange pad to shine a car. You go home and you buy that pad because that's what you've been trained on. So we asked Bob and Bob to say, all right, what is it about the pads that we really need to know, right? Foam, microfiber, wool, when should you use them? So that's what we're gonna do. So let's go tap in right now.
All right, here we go.
All right, guys. Let's lock and load.
Keep going, guys. Keep going.
What we got, Ninja? Oh, you're gonna actually show us how to use the pad?
Yeah.
Woo!
So while you're waiting for electricity, let's talk about a couple things that people have asked about. Come on in here, see.
Okay.
So one of the biggest questions we've seen people is what's the difference between some of the high density foams, the open, the closed, and then the CCP. Explain what that is. CCS versus like this
Waffle
versus nothing.
Right.
And people want to know what that is about. So let's talk about waffle, CCS, and then no dimples whatsoever.
Well, the one thing about pads, we have in Lake Countries, we have pads for everybody's use, everybody's taste. I explained this kind of like, with doing cars, obviously we're doing a boat today, is that everybody comes up with their system, but at the end of the day, they get a nice, clean, shiny finish, clean, shiny car. I can, use my system might not work out for Rod, what you use,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, we get a clean, shiny finish. That's what it's all about. That's why we have the assortment of different pads. But there are some unique differences. The core color foams with Lake Country is going to be our blue, pad, orange to black. And then, of course, we have the, with the CCS, we'll just get that out of the park right now. The CCS is going to enable for the pad to polish against the surface a lot more uniform than just a straight, foam pad, especially with vehicles and surfaces that aren't quite flat. And then also it's going to trap the product in there. So if you are, correcting a finish and you need a little bit more product, you don't have to go and stop. You can just push a little bit harder on that pad. It turns flat and it dispenses the product again. You have longer buffing time. So
then what's the difference between that and the waffle? What's the idea with the waffle?
Yeah, the waffle was all, first designed to create the gap, the air gap. But trust me, if you take and rub your fingers across this waffle pad, your fingers are going to heat up. It's going to be cooler, but it isn't like it's going to be, 80 degrees cooler. The foam pads against, clear coat or, gel coat is going to heat up. But typically as this pad's, rotating, at a high speed, it's, sucking in, air to keep that surface to the pad ratio, a lot cooler.
Okay. So then let's talk about the types of foam, right? There's different types of foam. Why do we use different types of foam?
We have, the open cell, closed cell, more dense, like these guys right here are a lot more, dense, type of a pad. And then we have, which they're kind of like the memory foam, family, more aggressive, depending on, what finish you're working on. And then we have, what I like with our core pads, with our blue, orange, and black pads, they're more deep, defined. You're kind of fine tuning in what you're doing. If with a lot of gel coat, you're actually using something with a little bit more
density.
Density. You're using obviously wool. We have micro wool. We have lamb's wool. We have the all different shapes and sizes to get the job, easier, your life easier, when it comes to polishing.
Right. And these are obviously more aggressive.
Yes, absolutely.
But there's a different purpose for all the different types of pads.
Yep.
Obviously, this is rotary. This is, their
That's
DA
gonna
or
be-
fixed
That
rotation.
can be, anything above 6 inch and above can be rotary.
Yeah.
We have 6-inch pull pads just like that.
Yep, yep.
It comes down to kind of like Coke and Pepsi, what people really feel comfortable about. But
Let's talk about some of the backing as well.
right.
Like so,
you got a blue interface here. You have no interface. This is actually going to stiffen up the pad, a lot more than just no, interface at all. So it comes down to heat, performance, how much you're trying to remove, correct out of a gel coat or out of a clear coat. We have a lot of different pads for everybody out there. Nobody really details like me or like Jody or Carlos out there. We all have our own unique way of detailing, and that's why we have different pads for our personal preference, and then also what you're working on too. Like this week we worked on the Lexus that has a softer paint. The BMW has a lot harder paint. With the Lexus with softer paint, we're dealing with a softer orange foam. With the harder paint, we're dealing with a blue, more aggressive, compound pad.
And one of the things that I wanted to highlight with the pads is on a softer paint, we used this is a fluffed lamb's wool type of a pad.
Yep.
And it put a haze on it, which you would think, oh, it's not aggressive enough. In the reality, it was too aggressive.
Right.
We needed to go to a less aggressive pad with the same polish to get the finish we wanted.
Yeah.
And then finish it off with a nice
Absolutely.
orange pad.
Because how this goes is that, this is a compound pad, pretty dense.
Yep.
But then if it's not getting the job done, to remove, the scratches but not leave marring, then we would actually go to this guy. But if it is leaving marring, then we want to step down.
Yep. So it's all about trial and error, but it's also about talking to the experts that make the pads and find out what is the proper usage, what is the proper substrate that we're using this on.
Yep.
You wouldn't grab something that, for instance, is a super aggressive pad and go hit that on a black soft paint because you're going to mar the crap out of it. So
you're going to just make more work for yourself, and that's where it comes back. Where a lot of gentlemen, a lot of detailers in the industry do test spots. I can't urge that enough. Is that if you don't know, do test spots. If you don't know the paint finish, you don't know the car or the boat, you want to do test spots. So that way you aren't fighting the game all day. You do some test spots, you get it worked out on pad, juice, for what you're satisfied with to make the customer happy. Then go and do that throughout the whole boat or whole vehicle.
Yep. And then the other one would be go to trainings like this, the details to the round table. Some of the experts like Nathan Warren, Carlos Gonzalez, Carlos Galan, Gonzalez Galan there, and talk to these people and learn their techniques and what they use. So on a softer paint, ask, hey Nate, what would you use on this situation? Bob, what would you recommend? And get in there with some mentors that have done this stuff before so that you understand the process before you just start digging into somebody's, paint and marring it up.
Because everybody skins the cat different. That's the thing too. I may have a process that works that doesn't work for Bob, and Bob may have, and it still, what it is the end result and what makes the customer happy. But obviously, we need the most efficient way to get there as a business.
And then make sure you write it down.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to work on a soft paint. Put it into a CRM. Do something with it so that you remember what you do the next time that car comes in or somewhat similar paint.
And the other, note with, Nate and myself, being some dinosaur detailers, is that, back in the day, we used this pad only to do everything.
And you were lucky when this finally came out, so you had something to polish with.
Exactly.
Something similar to that.
So you're looking at this pad, could be what, you could use it on like 8 or 10 different vehicles out there, and then it wears down. Now, the technology and the better way of actually reconditioning and correcting paint is now we're wanting to use between 6 to 8 pads per vehicle. Not to sell you a ton of pads and that we want to oversell you, but what you want to do is you don't want to take this pad and work it to death around the whole vehicle, whole boat and everything. You want to split it out so that way you have a nice even, type of, pad usage. Again, let me see here. Where is it? These are all black loop, but our Lake Country, loop is actually white. Where and if it's not, ours, but get into the custom of actually writing what did you use on this, what kind of compound. So that way, you don't cross-contaminate either. You don't want to use a compound pad that might be able to be used, with a medium, compound and cross-contaminate results. So.
And Bob, something that I want to point out that both Nate and Jody said is everybody has their own way of doing it. There's a scripted deal, what you should do. But everybody has their own way. But the main thing behind these classes is learn from each other. Try it. Maybe it'll work. Maybe you'll learn something. And if you learn something, you're going to save money and time.
Yep. Never stop learning. I say it all the time. I've been saying it for years because, there was I think he's older than me, Prentice St. Clair.
Oh, he is.
He's like Dinosaur Plus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Prentice. Love you, brother.
But, he came to, I was working for a distributor in San Diego, real quick story, and we offered, every quarter, a training session. He was at, 3 years worth, of trainings. So, that's 12 different, trainings. And I looked at him like, why are you showing up? You could actually run this class. He goes, you know what? Every time I come, I learn from either you or I learn from somebody in the audience, a tip or a trick or something to better myself. And that's what, never stop learning. You always pick something up from somebody.
So I want to ask something as a dinosaur that I need to be educated on. So obviously I know that there's open cell foam, and I walked in late, so if I missed something, I'm sorry. I was getting ready. I know there's open cell foam, closed cell foam, higher density foam, less dense foam. What would be your best approach or suggestion as a pad manufacturer for gel coated surfaces?
It's going to be, the denser, type foam because, gel coat's hard. It's not soft.
True.
And especially, how often do you get, a pristine boat that just needs
doesn't need the aggression?
Yeah. Most of them need some hair.
So you guys right now don't necessarily have a marine specific line of pads.
Not yet.
But you're working on that,
Yep.
and you're doing testing that pads that like the foam they'll actually match working with the material with the gel coat.
Yep, absolutely.
That's cool.
That's something that is probably going to be, we'll introduce it next year. And that a dedicated, marine line.
Cool.
And which we, what we're trying to do is try to match up, a pad per juice to another pad and juice and so forth. So that way,
several options.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
And I did, also wanted to talk about, Lake Country Power Tools. We have our UDOS 51E here. That is, 5 different throws in one. We're coming out with the new 31E at SEMA. That is going to be, 3, motions, and they are rotary, 8 millimeter, and then 15.
Awesome.
Which seem to be kind of the common, core. We really feel, that this new machine is going to be great. But this is a great machine for a novice, a DIY, because you're looking at a price point where you're buying one tool, but 5 different options, 5 different tools in one, tool application. Instead of having, a wall of tools, somebody that is just starting out can actually really do a lot of work and earn a lot of money with this tool. Within two details, 2 recondition, correctings, that tool's paid for. So
Awesome.
Definitely want to get that in your hands. And the other item here that that we have is our handheld light, which I think anybody that's doing any paint correction at all, and we showed it off yesterday doing interiors, is a really nice, lightweight, in a price point friendly, is our handheld light. Very easy to hang on to. Has great light to expose all of those imperfections that you thought you got out. This is kind of a love-hate relationship, because without this, you aren't, once you take it outside, then you see, and then you bring it back inside. If you had this and you were going through and doing your inspections, you wouldn't be going back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
definitely, you know, a nice unit, kickstand, you know, USB charging, has the hook. This is magnetic on the end here. Great light. We've done very, very well. Very proud of this.
Durable.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, awesome.
Any questions?
That was great,
All right,
man.
let's get to it.
Well, thanks for being part of the roundtable
Absolutely.
event, man. This is
Absolutely.
awesome. Always great to see you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for
And
inviting
that dude
us.
too, yeah. I don't know if I invited, but I'm glad you came.
showed up. The
You're
door was
always
open.
invited for me, so.
He's got open invitation.
So anyway, as you guys can see, there are some amazing things going on at this 3-day training sponsored by Frontline Shine Training, or actually it's going to be Frontline Training by Nate Warren. We're going to go finish this boat out later today, and we're actually going to spend a little time with Nate and Mike Rhines and run through RoadFS with them, get them set up here at the shop, and get their business rocking. I mean, it's already rocking. We're just going to help a little bit more. So I'm not sure if we're going to go live one more time, but anyway, it's been a fantastic time. Shout out to the other 24 locations that did the IDA Global SV. That was huge in 10 different countries. Shows you the power of an association that's growing and trying to have an impact on your business. So anyway, you guys have a great day, and we'll check you later. See ya!